We now return to Mind Matters on DZRJ, 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines. Here's your host, Denise Celdran.
And we're back and ready to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for calling. Very interesting perspective. So, I guess let's go. What Brother Francis was saying was that it's desires that make problems. And I think Nonay was also echoing, if there are no desires, there are no... if we don't achieve our desires, then that is a problem. And I think Cecil's outlook is probably the best. She just... she feels like she's one with the world, and she has that connection and confidence in the self, in the higher self, which changes her perspective towards everything. And Nonoy was saying that, I think the essence of what Nonoy was saying is that having a spiritual practice to help you manage your mind and your emotions is probably the best way to solve, because life will always be full of problems, and I put this in quotation marks, because problems are different things to different people and different perceptions. Life will always be full of, S-H-I-T. But it's how we perceive it that can change. So the change has to come from us. So we need to get our perception clear. And our perception will be clearer if we have a spiritual practice, or if we are have a way to connect with ourselves, the higher self, the soul, the spirit. Because this spirit is one with the infinite intelligence, or God, or whatever you wish to call it. So if we know and we are connected to that self, which is the same thing as an infinite intelligence, how can we go wrong? Because that in itself is perfect. So we experience problems when we lose this connection. Otherwise, we just look at problems as lessons. We look at it as a postman. If a postman comes and gives you a letter and it's bad news, you don't go killing the postman or getting mad at the postman. He's just delivering the news. So depending on your karma, depending on how you've lived your life, and I'm not even talking about karma from ages old and past life karma. I'm just talking about what I call coffee karma, which means whatever action you do now, there will be a consequence sometime in the very near future. And I call it coffee karma because if you drink a lot of coffee in the morning and then you're jittery and you're whatever throughout the day and your mind is all over the place and everything and you're a little nervous, it's because you drank coffee. So it's how we've lived our life. It's how we conduct our business. It's how we deal with people. It's how we choose to pay our taxes or not pay our taxes, pick up our trash, not pick up our trash, help other people, not help other people. All of these will reflect in the very near future. So this is coffee karma, or instant karma. So all of this, depending on what we've done, will always come back to us. And either we can look at it as a problem, something that can't be solved, something that consumes us, something that takes all of our emotions and just goes on in our mind and just makes us end up doing nothing but worry. Or we can look at it as a challenge, as a lesson. What can I learn from this? How can I go forward? How can I become better? The old perspective to use is always, how can I become better from this situation? Because everything where we are right now in the present moment is really all that we have, is a result of everything that we've done in our past life, not in our past life before we were born, but just in the past. Like whether or not I brushed my teeth 3 years ago on September 12, 2008, has a direct reflection on what is happening today. It's because every minute leads to the next minute, leads to the next minute. Because maybe I brushed my teeth and then I ended up not going somewhere. So I ended up not meeting a person. And how every single action affects where you are today. Every single decision that you've made affects where you are today. And what the beauty about it is this awareness we can use to move forward. Just this awareness of what problems are or not are, we can already use to move forward. So just to recap, how to say no problem to a problem. I think number one is accepting the situation just as it is with as much clarity as we can. And that comes through having a spiritual practice that helps us clear our mind, keep our energy levels up so that we're always thinking clearly. So accepting the situation, minding the ego or the mind, as Nonoy says. For me, I think the mind feeds the ego and vice versa. Letting go of the ego, letting go of the pride, reaching out your hand first, becoming, the bigger person, becoming the bigger person in the situation, surrendering to a higher power, or letting go of the need to always control the situation. Letting go to a higher power that has more infinite intelligence than we do. And if things don't even turn out the way we do, it could be a blessing in the sky. Something doesn't turn out and you realize after, like, oh my God, thank God that didn't happen because so and so. So even if it doesn't turn out the way we wanted it to, sometimes it is a blessing in the sky. More often than not, it's a blessing in the sky. Having a spiritual practice, like I said earlier, this is very important. This is very, very, very important, especially as the very deep-seated, issues and problems that we really think can't be solved with enough awareness and connection to a higher power in our spiritual self. These just become things that you can just live, it's there, but you can live with it. It no longer consumes you. It no longer takes all your time and all your energy. So having a spiritual practice, taking responsibility, instead of complaining, whining, blaming, take responsibility. What can I do to make this better? What can I do? Helping other people. The best way to get depressed is to just keep thinking, me, 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 me. Why me? Why did this happen to me? My life sucks. Think about others, and all of a sudden, help others with bigger problems, and then you'll see your own problem in perspective. Knowing that any problem or situation is just a lesson, and like a postman is just out to bring you a message. And the last one is always doing what is for the greater good of all. With what Brother Francis mentioned earlier about extramarital affairs. What is, having enough strength and enough power in yourself to do the better thing, to do the higher thing. And that is all for today. So I'll catch you all next week. Take care, have a good week, and see you next Thursday.
You have been listening to